For decades, the American middle class believed in one simple formula: work hard, get a stable job, buy a house, raise a family, retire peacefully. That was the dream, and millions of families spent their entire lives chasing it. But today, something feels different. Middle-class Americans are working harder than ever, yet many still feel financially trapped. They earn decent money. Some even make $80,000 and $100,000 or more. But somehow, the stress never disappears. Savings stay low, debt keeps growing, and real wealth feels further away every year. So what happened? Why do so many middle-class families struggle to become financially free even after decades of hard work? Today, I'm going to show you 7 hidden reasons quietly destroying the American middle class. These are not obvious mistakes, they are normal habits that slowly keep families stuck for years without realizing it. And once you see these 7 traps, you'll understand why some people stay middle class forever, while others quietly build wealth. Secret 1. Lifestyle inflation. A man named Daniel lived in Texas. At 28 years old, he made around $52,000 a year working in IT support. At the time, life felt simple: small apartment, used car, cheap furniture. And despite not earning huge money, he still managed to save something every month. Then his salary increased $70,000, then $90,000. Eventually, over $110,000. From the outside, Daniel looked successful, but something strange happened. The more he earned, the tighter life started feeling, because every income increase came with a lifestyle upgrade: a bigger apartment, then a house, a luxury SUV, more expensive restaurants, vacations, subscriptions, furniture upgrades. Nothing extreme individually, but together, everything expanded. And that's the problem most middle-class Americans never notice. Lifestyle inflation doesn't happen suddenly. It happens quietly. Your spending slowly rises to match your income, and eventually, you're earning more than ever while still feeling financially pressured. This is one of the biggest reasons middle-class families struggle to build wealth in America, because wealth is not created by income alone. It's created by margin, the gap between what you earn and what you keep. And in America, modern culture constantly pressures people to close that gap through spending, social media, advertising, neighborhood comparisons. Everyone upgrades together, so even successful people begin feeling average. Daniel eventually realized something painful. He wasn't building freedom, he was building obligations. And obligations are expensive. That bigger house came with higher taxes, higher insurance, higher maintenance. The luxury SUV lost value every year. The subscriptions quietly drained money monthly. Nothing destroyed his finances overnight, but everything slowly absorbed his future. This is why many middle-class Americans stay stuck, because income rises, but freedom doesn't. And unless someone controls lifestyle inflation early, middle-class income often turns into middle-class pressure, not wealth. Secret 2. Debt becoming normal. In America, debt became part of everyday life. Credit cards, car loans, student loans, buy now, pay later. Monthly payments became normal. A woman named Rebecca from Illinois once described her life perfectly. She said, "I didn't realize how trapped I was because everyone around me lived the same way." That sentence explains the middle-class crisis perfectly. Debt no longer feels dangerous. It feels standard. And that's exactly why it becomes powerful. Rebecca and her husband earned nearly $95,000 combined. Not rich, but not poor either. Yet every month felt stressful because most of their income already belonged to someone else. Car payments, mortgage, credit card minimums, medical bills, student loans. The problem with debt is not just interest, it's psychological pressure. Every payment reduces flexibility. Every loan steals future income. And eventually, people become trapped in jobs they hate, simply because their lifestyle requires constant income. This is why many middle-class Americans feel exhausted. They're not just working for themselves anymore. They're working for monthly obligations. And once debt becomes normal, financial freedom becomes difficult. Wealthy people understand something important. Debt used for consumption rarely creates wealth. It usually delays it. Secret 3, no long-term investing mindset. Many middle-class families save money, but very few truly invest consistently. And there's a major difference. Saving protects money. Investing grows it. A couple in Ohio spent nearly 20 years keeping most of their savings in a regular bank account. They thought they were being responsible, safe, careful, but inflation quietly reduced the value of their money every year. Meanwhile, people investing consistently into index funds, retirement accounts, and long-term assets saw their wealth compound over decades. The middle class often fears investing because it feels risky, but not investing long-term creates another kind of risk, the risk of falling behind. In America, retirement is increasingly dependent on investments, 401ks, IRS, stock market growth. Without participation, middle-class families often struggle later in life. And by the time many realize this, they're already behind. Secret 4, financial education never taught. One of the biggest hidden problems in America is this. Most people are taught how to work, but not how money works. Schools rarely teach investing, taxes, compound interest, debt psychology, asset building. So middle-class families often learn about money through trial and error, usually expensive errors. A father in California once admitted, "I spent 20 years making financial decisions without understanding what I was doing." And that's more common than people realize. Without financial education, people focus only on income. But income alone rarely creates wealth. Understanding money creates wealth. Secret 5. Healthcare and emergency costs. One medical emergency can destroy years of progress. That's the reality many middle-class Americans live with. A family may save carefully for years, then suddenly face hospital bills, insurance gaps, or unexpected emergencies, and everything changes. This constant financial vulnerability creates stress. Because middle-class families often live close to their limits, they may appear stable, but stability without margin is fragile. Secret 6, social comparison culture. Middle-class families constantly compare themselves to others, neighbors, co-workers, friends online, and comparison creates spending pressure. People buy things not because they need them, but because they don't want to feel behind. This is one of the most powerful hidden financial traps in modern America, because comparison has no ending. Someone will always appear richer, and chasing appearances quietly destroys long-term wealth. Secret 7, waiting too long. This may be the biggest one. People think they have more time to invest, more time to save, more time to prepare. Then suddenly they're 50 and retirement feels close. That's when panic begins, because wealth compounds slowly at first, then rapidly later, but only if time exists. And middle-class families often lose years waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment rarely comes. The middle-class crisis in America is not caused by one giant mistake. It's caused by small patterns repeated for decades: lifestyle inflation, debt, lack of investing, financial ignorance, comparison, waiting too long. Individually, they seem harmless. Together, they quietly trap millions of families. But here's the good news. Awareness changes everything, because once you recognize these patterns, you can break them and financial freedom becomes possible again. Not instantly, but gradually, the same way financial problems were created, one decision at a time.